What's up, YouTube? Welcome to ExceedTheHype.com. It's your boy Lucrecio coming at you with another video. Alright, today's video is about the Portland Trailblazers, and it's entitled the Portland's dynamic duo needs some more help. Right? And that's because that's exactly what needs to happen. Their duo, as great as they are, need some more to be able to compete in that Western Conference. The Western Conference got so much better with Golden State and San Antonio and OKC and Minnesota and Houston. And Houston could even get even better. Portland, to stay relevant in the Western Conference, needs to really improve their team. Really needs to get some more help in there for Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. All right. So let's talk about what they currently have. Al-Farouq Aminu. Now, he's definitely a serviceable player as far as defense and things of that nature. They try to make him a spot-up shooter, and that really, it just is not his strength. He's really just not necessarily a spot-up shooter. I personally don't think he's a good shooter at all. He shot at least decent percentage this past year, because naturally he had a lot of open shots, because that's typically what the defense will go ahead and give up, considering like he's not the best shooter. But I definitely think they need to upgrade that position. They depended on him a lot last year. Even in the playoffs, naturally that was the plan. Golden State was giving up that corner three-pointer to him especially. But defenses are going to do that, and I feel like they need to get somebody who can actually make them pay from the three-point line. Let's see. Allen Crabbe is no longer on the team. I think this was one of their strong moves this offseason, to go ahead and unload him on the Portland Trailblazers. In doing that, they were able to get somebody else. I forget the guy's name, but I don't even know if he makes it through to the season or if they'll cut him. But they got rid of Allen Crabbe's large salary, and the reason he has such a large salary is because Brooklyn last year offered him a restricted contract while he was a restricted free agent or whatever. Tried to overpay him. Portland had to match. Probably a bad decision. My thing on restricted free agents, man, if I was some of these teams and GMs or whatever, it really just depends on how much I value that particular player. Because if he's not one of my main guys, a lot of the time my answer is going to be just go ahead and let him go. Because some of these restricted free agent contracts or whatever are just absolutely terrible, and they can get away with it because they know the team wants to keep their talent, and basically they're just trying to screw the other team. If it was me, some of these guys would just be let go. I would just be like, all right, well, good luck to you with your next team. If you want the qualifying offer, I'll get it to you. If not, you can go ahead. Let's talk about Ed Davis for a second. Ed Davis is one of the really good role players in the NBA, in my opinion, or at least he can be. I just feel like he's a power player. He can grab you. He can get on the court, play defense, grab you some rebounds or whatever. I like what he brings to the table as an off the bench guy. They do use him as center a lot. I think that could definitely work out for them. I think he's definitely a good piece to have off the bench. Mo Harkless is another guy who was talked about in the Carmelo Anthony trades and things of that nature. The idea was that they get Carmelo. The trade, Mo Harkless would be the piece that they traded out. It would naturally be a 3-team trade or whatever, with Mo Harkless and whoever else going to New York, and then the Carmelo somehow ended up in Portland. However, Carmelo Anthony was not having that. He did not want to be part of the Portland Trailblazers. I can understand that. I mean, at the point of Carmelo Anthony's career, you want to go where you want to go. Even though Portland's good, if you don't want to go to Portland, I don't blame him for not even considering that option. You have Jake Layman, don't know much about him. Myers Leonard, we thought he was going to become a pretty good center. It didn't, up to this point. It really hasn't worked out for Myers Leonard. We'll see what the future can bring for Myers. We'll see whether or not he can start to develop. If not, I can see him totally being shipped out, because Portland really doesn't have time to wait years for somebody to develop into something, right? Damian Lillard doesn't have to change anything. I think he's an outstanding point guard. He's definitely an all-star. He's an all-NBA type talent. He should be an all-star every season. He hasn't made the all-star game once yet, which is criminal, basically. But I understand that because Mike Conley is another one. He's another guy who is an all-star player but has not made an all-star. And Mike Conley's been around forever. We'll see how this goes. It's just getting tougher because the guards are so deep in the Western Conference. It's gonna be tough, but I can totally see whether it takes Portland, doing a campaign or something to get it to work or something. But I can totally see at some point he's gonna have to be an all-star because that's criminal. C.J. McCollum, definitely a very, very outstanding compliment to Damian Lillard. They're kind of similar in that they both shoot a lot from range. C.J. McCollum's real quick. He can get to the rim whenever he wants to. He had a couple really, really big games, real big scoring outputs last year in the playoffs versus the Golden State Warriors. I think game 1 he had like 40-something points or something like that. He is just really, really good. I really like him as a player. To me, my question is always, okay, who's better? Who would you rather have out of C.J. McCollum and Bradley Beal? That's the level I'll put McCollum on. To me, he's like, not that him and Bradley Beal are necessarily similar. I think C.J. McCollum is a little bit more versatile, but that's the level of player. You know how Bradley Beal is also somebody who is considered for the All-Star game every year and probably should make it. Well, it was out of him and Kevin Love last year, but yeah, C.J. McCollum is definitely awesome. Shabazz Napier, Mr. UConn, and he hasn't had his real shot in the NBA as of yet. Right now, he's the backup for Damian Lillard, and I don't even think he's the first backup. I think he's like kind of the third string point guard at this point, or maybe he is the direct backup. I don't know what to really think about him at this point in the NBA. He's been around for a couple of years now, and I've watched, and I just haven't seen what I was able to see during the days at UConn or whatever. He was obviously a very good player at UConn, and won a national championship and was highly praised or whatnot. But thus far in the NBA, we haven't seen much. I thought the depleted Miami team, I thought he'd get a shot or whatever to do something special there. But, he wasn't able to really stand out there. So at this point, I don't really know exactly what to expect from him going forward. Nurkic was the surprise of last season. He was one of them. They traded for Denver for this guy, Nurkic, who was sitting on a bench because of the emergence of Denver's star center, right, Jokic. This guy came to Portland with something to prove and was balling out until he got injured. And then even when he came back from injury, he was still trying to get something done. I really like him a lot. I think he's going to be one of their third foundational piece for that team. And the rest of the help that they need will be built around those three, Nurkic, McCollum, and Lillard. I think they have a good future in that way, but I just think that as of the present, they still need to add more around those three. But I really like Nurkic's game. He's a bruiser down low. He's a good passer. He's a pretty good free throw shooter. He can do a lot for a big man, and it's pretty cool to see. Tim Quarterman, they got in the trade. He's one of the cast-offs from the Rockets. Evan Turner. I don't like Evan Turner's game. I never really have. I didn't understand why they paid him that $75 million contract. I thought that was insane of them to do that, especially they weren't even bidding against other teams or whatever. But anyway, they have him. I guess the idea is to have him on the court as the ball handler and a playmaker whenever, and move Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum both off ball at some times and have them both in attack mode. I'm assuming that was the vision when they brought in Evan Turner. And he can do that. He is definitely somebody who definitely wants to be a 6'7" point guard for whatever reason. I don't like his skill set personally. That's why I don't like him as a player. I hate his skill set. I think somebody who dribbles a lot and tries to, break his man down off the dribble and shoot like 18-footers or whatever. I think that's just not what the NBA is anymore. And then I don't think Evan Turner is that great at it at the same time. But, definitely Portland saw what they wanted to see, and he'll help them. If Lillard and McCollum both in attack mode is definitely a huge mismatch. So I can definitely understand why they would want to do that. And it's not a whole lot of threes who can really play make at a high level. So in that way, I can totally see why you would go for Evan Turner. Noah Vonleh got a lot of minutes last year. I think he started for most of the year at the 4. I'm just curious. He's still a young player. I'm not going to count him out. I'm curious to see how he continues to develop, and I'll just leave it at that. I'd like to see he shoots a lot of threes or whatever, and that's good. He's like the stretch 4. They're trying to make him a stretch 4, but I just like to see him play better. I like to see them get more production out of him, and I like to see the defense improve. And maybe if he could provide a little bit of rim protection because of his length, I'd like to see he could be a guy who could grow into a role with that team and be like a huge factor. And ultimately, that's what they would need. Portland is a very interesting team because now I'm thinking about it and I'm trying to figure out what exactly could they add. I thought if Kevin Love, which at the end of the season, a lot of the reporters and stuff made it seem like he was on the trading block and Cleveland was trying to get rid of him. I thought that's who Portland should have really gone after. I thought that would have been a very good pickup for them. He's the kind of guy they need, big, who could stretch the floor, who's consistent, you could depend on, can grab 15 rebounds or whatever, and really open things up for those little guards trying to get to the rim and attack. Paul Millsap would have been another guy, but he got snatched up. I really think a stretch 4 is really going to be with that. A good one, though. Not just a stretch 4, but a really elite type of stretch 4 will be the next frontier for these guys as far as getting this team to the next level. If they can add that, it's not a whole lot of them. It's a whole lot of people who try to play that position, but it's not a whole lot of really good ones in the NBA. It's only a couple. But if they can get one to go with those guards and that big man in the middle, they'd be pretty tough. Now, tough as in Golden State and stuff, I don't know about that. But as far as relevancy, if they want to be in that mix for that 4 or 5 seed, that's what I think they would need to add. That, some more shooting, and some more playmakers off the bench to really, really get things going, all right? Anyway, leave your comments. Let me know what you think about the Portland Trailblazers, if you think they're good, how you think they can improve the team and all that type of stuff. And if there's a lot of comments, we'll start the Hoops Lounge, which will be the new segment after the live feed or whatever, so I can get to all the questions and all the statements and all that type of stuff. All right, if you're new, subscribe.